Thanks, Bob. Ron, now, first question. Obviously, back in the pinstripes, what's it like for you to be back here?
Well, this is the day that you look forward to all year because all your friends are here. A lot of the guys that you played with, a lot of the young kids that I saw in spring training all those years. You get to see them. This is the one day of the year that's the days probably circled next week for next year's because it's one of the things you don't want to miss. But for us, it's just always a pleasure to come back and spend some time with each other and come back to the stadium.
What's it like to come to the stadium and to hear your name announced again and to be able to get back out there on the field?
You still feel the goosebumps when it happens to you, and people still appreciate you. They remember the job that you did. So, when you get a nice ovation, it makes you feel real good.
The competitive spirit still there for you? A lot of people say they just want to have fun, but are you going out there and you're trying to do well?
I don't want to get any of my teammates hurt, and I certainly don't want to get hurt. So, no, it's all the fun. You try. I always tell a guy, you just show me where you want to hit for me to throw it, and I try to throw it. Now, whether you hit it, it's up to you or not, but I'm going to do my job.
Now, do you still throw, or is it one day a year you come back, you get the glove, and you throw?
I'm still fortunate because I still go to spring training every year, so I get to do a lot of throwing in spring training. Other than that, no. So I just hope that, I hope my shoulder stays together one more year.
Was there anyone in particular that you were really looking forward to seeing today?
Not anybody in particular. It's just a lot of the guys that you don't get to see a lot. There's a lot of us, like Goose and I, we're in spring training. I see Goose all the time. I see Mazzilli all the time. I see Roy White quite a bit. I see Mickey quite a bit. So a lot of those guys you don't. But then they're like the young, I call them the kids. They're younger kids. Andy Phillips, I hadn't seen Andy in years and years. Pat Kelly, you only get to see them maybe once a year. So that's why it's so important because you're still friends. You don't get to see each other as often as you used to. So that's why today's so special.
Obviously, you'll stick around for the game later than today, but have you been paying attention to this team and what they've been doing so far this year?
Well, of course. Yeah, I get upset sometimes, and turn the TV off. But other than that, yeah, I like to see how they're doing. You have to. I mean, you are part of what this pride and tradition is all about. You had something to do with instilling it in everybody else. So, yeah, I watch and see what they're doing.
How much does that mean to you, having been a part of this organization, and you talk about instilling that?
Well, it was always the thing that drove you. When you put that uniform, you remembered who wore it before you and all the pride that they had when they wore it, and it wears off on you.
Ron, thanks for the time.
You're welcome.